So tons of resources for you as a dealer, and then some information that you would have available as well for your different clients. Under the specification resources, you can also find that ChinaSync database we looked at and some of this other information that's on this same page. So it's kind of repeated a little bit. You have these different product style sheets from all the different series. You can click on any one of those. It'll open up a PDF for you. Again, you could print this, email this to a client to help them in that selection process. So I think that kind of covers the leg system part of it. And again, we do a ton of custom, different sizes, different heights, depths, all those different kind of things. One thing that we didn't cover, and I just want to make sure, let me pull up the Palmer guide here, because these are with the kind of industrial products that we're seeing more and more of today. The hammered ball is something that we're starting to see more and more of. I'm going to kind of blow this up here. So it comes in all of these different leg series that you see listed below. As he talked about the different icons, and then all the different finishes. And these can be, mixed and matched. Like if there are multiple balls on the leg style, it could be just certain ones, or it can be all of them. So it's $235 additional per fitting. So obviously you would have at least two, and then you could have more depending on the leg style and whether or not you had shells and all that kind of stuff. So that's something that is we do more and more of today. Just kind of fits into that industrial style. So I do want to go over just the shelving real quick. And so you will see there are a couple different types of shelves here: the tubular shelving, the cantilever shelving, the bracket shelving. So in the tubular shelving, which is what we do the most of, this is going to be where you would do things like you see here in a kitchen example. Open shelving is huge right now. I probably do 2-3 quotes a week for shelving. We do have some dealers who put it on display. As you can see here, you can have it from ceiling to counter. You can have it in this example from the ceiling down, and then just each one of these returns will screw into the wall. So there'll be an anchor in the wall for them to attach to. You can have this through type shelving. So you can see here now we're outside the kitchen, we're outside the bathroom. This is an office environment. Library, so back of the bar kind of opportunities. One of the things that it said in the video and we show in the catalog is that we offer 3 types of shelving. We offer the hotel type shelving, the teak wood, and the glass. I highly recommend that if you're going to use a glass shelf, you source that locally. Two reasons. One is price. You can probably find it much cheaper locally, and the other one is it just eliminates the shipping damage that could happen to glass shelves. So we will provide them if you want them, but I would recommend that you source them locally. So you can see some more options here of different ways to do shelving. So I think this is a cool option here. And I can tell you this shelving is huge. More and more manufacturers are coming out with this type of products. And here's kind of cool. You can see we did split finishes here. I think that's a great option as well. So you have 3 styles. You have the Metro, which is very sleek. You don't see any connectors really. And then you have the Ball, and then you have the Studio. Probably the Studio is the one I do the most of, and Mostly in one finish, but I have done a couple of split finishes. And then this is the split collar that you can do if you're drilling through wood or stone, and to make that shelving system as well. The next thing is the cantilevered shelving. I've sold a little bit of this, not a huge amount. This photo that you see here is actually from our design center in Atlanta, where we have it on display. We've done a little bit of it. I do have several quotes out right now with it, so I think it's growing. It's going to be more. The one thing, these finials can be on the top of the support of this support leg, or it can be just it can be a cap or a different type of cover. So as you will see that when we look at this here, so you can see here it's just a cap, or it could be that finial. It mounts to the wall. So 2 locations here, 3 shelves. This can be customized to be more shelves. It could be 2 shelves. You can customize it to different widths. I have one right now that I think is 7 feet. So we have 3 risers to cover that 7 feet. So you can do tons of different things. These are our standard dimensions for this, but again, this can be customized as well. And these can also be done in split finishes. So you could do a matte black with this unlacquered brass, so on and so forth, in a combination. And then you have what's called the bracket shelving, which is going to be basically just we're supplying the support and you're supplying the shelf material. We also can do this. I have a project right now we're doing this on. We're providing everything that you see here. Let's go back and pause this here. So we're providing the rail, the hooks. The project that I'm working on, everything is in the same finish, not in split finishes. We're not providing the shelf here. They're actually using a stone shelf. And I think there's, if I remember right, there's 6 of these going throughout the kitchen. So it's another opportunity for you to be able to pick up some extra business that you didn't have before. But let's talk about how this is priced. So if you choose to do any of the architectural shelving, whether it be the bracket shelving, the cantilever shelving, or the tubular shelving, you will be given a retail price. You will be given your cost, and the margins will not be what you're typically used to in the retail sink leg division. The reason is it's a very competitive business. And so Palmer knows, because they've been doing this for years before they opened this up to us as the retail side of the business, that we will keep the price point to where it needs to be for you to be successful. There is this drawing gallery that we've kind of put together that kind of will guide you as well with information here. So if we're doing tubular shelving, we'll just download one here so we can see. And you can actually take this information if it's pretty simple and straightforward, and you can change these dimensions, for example. So if you know that this is the setup that you need, but it's going to be 70 inches or 50 inches, whatever, you can change this dimension here. You will need to tell them the thickness of the shelf, because we want to make sure everything is balanced here. And then because that'll change, if the thickness of the shelf changes, that'll change this dimension if you don't change it here. So you can utilize these different sheets to be able to help you in the process if it's simple like that. But if it gets into something very complicated, that's when you really just want to kind of put Palmer together with the designer and let them figure out exactly what they're trying to accomplish. Any questions so far on those?
No, but I do want to reiterate that we can supply the glass shelving if you want it, but it can get kind of pricey, so oftentimes we don't usually do the glass shelving. They maybe work with a local glass dealer or somebody like that, but we do have the capability to do glass shelving in the quote as well.
Yes, and one of the things where I sell glass, if it's standard glass, you see in this photo right here, how this is standard glass. See how it's very green in this picture? You can buy that anywhere locally, and so you're not paying freight on it. You're not taking the risk of it getting damaged, and you're probably going to be able to buy it less because Palmer is not a glass supplier, right? Where I sell more of the glass is if somebody's looking for what's called, there's different terminologies for it, zero lead, or I can't think of some of the other names right now, but basically where the glass has very little iron in it, so you don't get this very dark green line. Now there's still a hint of the green there because you can't take all the iron out or the glass will become too fragile. So that is harder to find locally. So if somebody's set on that as far as that they want that may be the glass that you buy, and we do offer both of those.
Hey, David, I just want to reiterate, click back on that finish, and in everybody's price book, you're not going to see the satin brass, the SBL for the lacquered, and the SB for wax listed as a finish offering for your standard finishes. But we have added these, and you have the capability to order them. They're going to be priced as the same as the ABUL in the 4th price group category for finishes. So if you're trying to figure out what that cost would be, it's going to land in that category. We did this because if you scroll down just a little bit, David, the PVD finishes like that satin brass, and Amber's on this call, but she brought it to my attention maybe a year or so ago. But what was happening is the PVD finishes can be pretty pricey, and a lot of people like that satin brass finish, but they didn't want to pay the PVD price. So they allowed you to do it in a lacquered or a waxed option and not a PVD, and got still to the regular kind of standard finish price point for us. So just wanted to point that out. We're going to have a new book coming out in the near future, and when we do, those finish options should be listed, I believe.
Yes, they will be. And speaking of, whenever you're in the price book, and it showed in the little video we watched about how to read the price book that they selected the clear acrylic for the legs. We have seafoam green and black that are available as well, but they're not priced in the price book. It will tell you in the price book that you need to call for that. While we're talking about the price book, let's go back for us. Okay, one of the things that didn't tell you in the video, and I think is important because I have this in a project right now, that they are not set on the actual size of. They're kind of debating, is it going to be 36 or is it going to be 34, so on and so forth. In this, right above step 3 on every page, it's going to write this in red if it's available, and it could be it can say a couple different things. It can say not field sizable. It can say can be cut in the field to reduce size. So in this example, you can reduce the height, the depth, and the width. And then some of them, it's going to say width can be reduced, depth can be reduced, so on and so forth. So if the customer doesn't know, and sometimes if they don't want to pay the upcharge, they can buy a 36, but they need a 24, and they don't want to pay us the $95, which I highly recommend they do. But some people are like, oh, we'll just cut it in the field. If you don't know, then you can do that. We did that in our design center just because we didn't know exactly which sink we were going to put, whether it was going to be a 27-inch sink or a 30-inch sink. So we just brought in the 36, and we ended up cutting it down to fit the sink. It's really simple. You're cutting brass, so just a good sharp metal blade, and you can cut it. It's very simple because you got to put it together anyway. So before you put those pieces in, you just cut that width. So our depth was good. We just needed to change our width. And just because we didn't know and we needed to get it in, we went ahead and made that. So it'll tell you if it can be done or not in this little area right here above each of the each of these. Let me see if I can find. So here's a different one. See, it says width and depth can be field cut. So you can't change. In this one, you can't change the height. So the one we were just looking at, you can change all 3 dimensions. So that information is there too that they didn't cover.